everyone, welcome to the Cherry Pie Crit. Look at all these corners we had on this course today. Some suspect cornering, a little too much braking as we saw in the beginning, but pretty fun course, honestly. I really liked it. With all these corners, thought for sure a brake was going to go. So most of the race I was pretty active trying to get in a brake, like you see here. I originally was just going to shimmy up the outside there, but then I saw this Tarun guy going in front of me and decided to give it a little extra gas so I could get on his wheel and try to get in this move. This is maybe 30 minutes into the race. There'd been some tries going so far. We'd been represented in most of the stuff that looked dangerous with Tarun and Mike Spikes in it, but nothing had really snapped the elastic yet. But the field was starting to get strung out. Guys were getting dropped because they weren't able to hold on through all these corners that you're about to see. And I thought, between 30 and 45 minutes into this race, I thought the elastic was about to snap at like any second, but it never quite did. And then after that point, everybody kind of let up and we started going easy as everyone was like waiting for the sprint. Could see like my heart rate and power go down on the profiles after. But the reason I thought there was going to be a break on this course is look at all these corners. I think I heard the officials saying there were 16 corners, and I don't know if I can count all those. There's too many. It's just like a parking lot crit, really, but they added all these chicanes on that section that made it very technical. This is the backside straight. There was one other longer straight on the finish, but between those straights, there was another technical section. So our little effort on the other side, you can see we're in a group of 4 now. That's why I slotted back in so quick there. We've got a gap. It was pretty easy to get a gap into those corners if you attacked late on the home straight. And then I didn't mind leading through the corners because everybody's kind of working hard through them, and you also got to take your own line. But you could see guys in front of me looking back there, seeing what the gap looks like. It's not much of a gap, but we do have a little bit of a gap. Some okay pulls here. Nobody was committing, and we're still in the looking around, see if we would like this phase of the break. But this is the other technical part I was mentioning, that right-hander into this section had some pretty janky pavement on the inside, which made it kind of tricky. And then you basically just are going all the way around the circle and then full gas out of there. There's a little bend right here, and then it's all the way into the finish line here. Kind of a deceptively long finish straight. Just keep going and going. It was also like a touch uphill at the end, maybe. Barely though. But really long sprint. You kind of thought that this bend here is the end of it, but it keeps going around the bend a little bit too. But back on the front here, like I was saying before, I kind of thought that any one of these moves could make the elastic snap, so I was willing to stay on the front and keep trying to drive it and working. And so, yeah, here we are going through all these S turns, kind of like a go-kart track. So I think at this point, a few more guys had bridged across, and then knowing that that was too big of a group, you see Mike Spike's guy go straight over the top. That's a good move. But nobody really followed. So you see everybody's like slow to get on the wheel. So now he's got a little bit of a gap. Mike Spikes had the biggest team out here, so everybody was looking to them to cover moves when stuff went. Tarun, the team in the pink, I think probably had the next biggest representation. So since they do have a guy in no man's land up there. Oh yeah, I remember this. And then I'm going to go chase him back out of all these corners, because if we let both of those teams get away, then there's not going to be a whole lot of motivation in the field to chase. And our team, Altavelo, we just had 3 of us, so not a huge team presence, but our game plan was to try and get in breaks that had the big teams represented. And that's what's going on right now. We got both of those teams up the front, so I'm going to put in an effort here to chase this down. I'm going to speed this up. I needed a rear camera for this race. Felt like I spent a lot of time near at the front, so wasn't as much to see for a lot of it. Anyways, tracking them down through all these corners. And As soon as we get back up to his wheel, you can see the field is going to just go around us, and another little reshuffling. That Mike Spikes guy stayed away for maybe a lap or two by himself, took a preem, but didn't stay away. We ended up coming down to a field sprint, and so going to jump ahead to just outside of 1 lap to go. We had plans to work together as a team and have a little lead out, but we ended up not getting together near the front early enough, and there was a little bit of a crash earlier on this lap, so it's just me by myself at this point. I got the Mike Spikes lead out in front of me, and then you can see 3, now 4 other guys. I wish I'd been more aggressive into this corner. 5 other guys. Like, I wish I had gone up there and tried to get that wheel right behind Mike Spikes, but I was getting a little complacent. They did a really good lead out. You see them covering off the inside on that corner, so nobody can get up past them. And there's still 5 of them left with 1 to go, or 4 of them. And they kept the pace plenty fast through these corners so that you couldn't get around them. And everybody else, look at that gap that guy's letting open. See, this is why you don't want to be this far back. If I had been right up on the Mike Spikes wheels, would have not had all these gaps to close, but instead I'm going to get to spend most of my energy on this back stretch trying to get it through gaps. Look at this gap in front of the Tyrrell guy right in front of me, and so it's like out of the saddle, out of that corner, trying to get on that wheel, and there's another gap in front of that guy in black, and so kind of like spent a lot of energy on this side sewing back up those gaps that if I was a few wheels further up I just wouldn't have had to deal with. This corner was really fast, and then it set you up into, this corner was like more, it was an acute angle, so it was like going more than 90 degrees around that corner. But you see another little gap opening, and I just was like chomping at the bit to get around these guys, get past the one Tyrrell guy. I wanted to go up the outside through the cones there, but it's like just not quite enough room. So resigned to going into this corner on the outside, which I didn't mind. I like that line. You get good pavement, got pretty good exit speed out of it. Still like 5 knot Mike's guys. I get one of them here, and then coming out of this last corner, I knew it was still a long ways to the finish line, so I didn't want to get too antsy, but wanted to follow this Tyrrell guy, and then I like thought that Specialized guy moves over and the gap disappears, and then this Mike Spikes guy kind of pops up, and I was like looking down a little bit, looked up, I was like, whoa. Just really did not have my best sprint effort at the end of this, which is kind of a bummer because I put myself in a really good position. Mike Spikes did a great job, went 1-2. I'm feeling pretty confident after this race, though. Really looking forward to the next one. Thanks, everyone.